What if you've just arrived in a new city? You're lost, you don't know anyone, you have no clue where to stay, and you're on a tight budget. What if you decide that couch surfing is the solution for you? I decided to take couch surfing on a new level and dared to take on the experiment and see where couch surfing would lead me. So could I, as an Australian exchange student, spend some months couch surfing in Rotterdam? Moving to a new continent, country or town is a great experience and very exciting. But at the beginning it also causes some trouble, especially when you need to find housing, which is not always as easy as you hope it is.
Over 50% of Maastricht University students come from abroad. Most of them have difficulties in finding good housing, and sometimes even have to go as far as across the Belgian border to find a decent home.
Often landlords are reluctant to provide housing for students as they fear they won't pay their rent and may break things.
The reason why most real estate people have a problem renting out to students is that students are like high maintenance, labor intensive. They break quite a lot of stuff. They don't know how to fix it. They have no income. So all these problems combined make a lot of real estate people steer clear of renting out to students.
The big question then is, where should you go in a big city like this? After all, it shouldn't be too expensive. People tend to spend a lot of their income on their living. According to the NIBUD student research of 2012, the average Dutch student spends €488 a month to live on their own. This is much more than the average scholarship, and more than half of the spendable income of the average Dutch student, which is €915. So what are the other options? Hotels and hostels are also too expensive, and living with your parents is definitely not an option when you're far away from home. So what about couch surfing? It has a couple of huge advantages and it's a pretty cheap way of living. But what exactly is couch surfing? Couch surfing started as an online community of some people offering their couches to travellers, and others needing places to stay while travelling. The website has existed for a full decade now, and as of last year it has 6 million members spread out over 100,000 cities. To ensure safety, users can give each other either a positive or a negative review. The community is very much based on trust and mutual understanding. Most of the time, people couch surf for limited periods of time and stay at one address for about 2 to 3 days at a time. So doing this for a longer period of time is a bit out of the ordinary, but the method has definitely been proven to work for shorter periods of time.
Okay, so I think the advantages of couch surfing mainly come in the sort of not knowing what could happen when you stay in these different places. Every time's different, you get to meet lots of new people, and in the city that you're staying in, the person obviously most likely will be living there and can tell you lots of cool and fun things to do.
It also enables you to meet very nice, very warm and welcoming new people, and at the same time you're also saving some money, which is nice as well.
So, the advantages of couch surfing are, it's flexible, you save a lot of money, you meet new people, and you get to know your city in a new way. Couch surfing can't only be good though, there have to be some drawbacks. Sleeping on other people's couches quickly taught me that not all couches were meant for sleeping, and you don't get any of the privacy you would in your own place.
Well, I wouldn't really say there are any disadvantages really, but then of course deciding to couch surf is a decision for a specific type of traveling or a specific type of visiting a place. You're at someone's home, and therefore of course also I guess a little bit limited in your freedom to come in and out whenever you want and to do whatever you want.
Học từ khăn nên Εντάξει, οκ, έλα, θα τα πούμε αύριο. Κατά τις 9, ναι. Όχι. Δεν έγινε αυτό, απλά είναι πολλά πέσα, παιδάκι μου. Τι να κάνουμε, δηλαδή, πώς να σου το πω.
And another disadvantage of couchsurfing is you could end up with someone who's slightly strange, and I mean it's not happened to me, but you could have a bad experience, I guess, as you don't really know what you're getting yourself into.
If you want to stay somewhere for a little bit longer, you need, for example, a bank account. But how will you get a bank account if your address is a sofa at someone's place? Not being able to register at any address would definitely be a drawback of couchsurfing for a longer period of time. Something couchsurfing will never offer you is a private space. A couch is very often the most public place in a house. How do our experienced couchsurfers think about it as a permanent solution?
If you're doing couchsurfing for more than a couple of days, you don't have your own space. You're constantly the guest in somebody's own house, which means flexibility of where you can stay is limited, and for how long you can stay, it's not really up to you to choose. Also, I think it could be pretty stressful trying to find somewhere to stay every night, especially when you're traveling and you're knowing you need to find a bed for the night.
It's hard to recommend anything because that just really depends on what your motives are and what kind of person you are. I personally would not want to couch surf or only rely on couch surfing if I'm traveling for several months. It would mean you would have to move all the time, and of course for me personally, even though I like to be on the move when I'm traveling, at the same time I would not really want to be forced to move all the time.
So what can we conclude about couchsurfing as a permanent living solution? I've seen some good sides, but I've also seen some downsides. Before deciding whether you would want to do this, you have to realise that couchsurfing only works for a certain type of person. And doing it for a longer period of time will definitely have some drawbacks. This experiment has taught me that couchsurfing is definitely a great opportunity for a lot of fun. But doing it for more than 1 month at a time might be a little bit too much. The great thing is, once you find a place to settle down, you will be able to use your new place to host some couch surfers yourself. Now that I've got my own place, I'm excited to welcome couch surfers into my home and onto my sofa.